Всем привет! This is a Blin School channel. My name is Anna. I'm a professional Russian tutor and I missed you so much. Learning Russian is not easy and may seem like a mountain climb, especially with the grammar, pronunciation and unique sounds. We even have letters that make no sound. Many beginners make common mistakes that slow down their progress or drain their motivation. In this video, we'll dive into those pitfalls and how to avoid them, so you can keep up your momentum, stay motivated, and build a solid foundation in Russian. Whether you're just starting out or looking to improve, these tips will help you to study smarter and make your journey smoother. Let's get started. There are 5 common mistakes to avoid while studying Russian on your own. Neglecting speaking practice is one of the biggest pitfalls in language learning. You can study grammar and vocabulary all day, but without actually speaking, it's hard to build fluency. Speaking activates a completely different skill set. It helps you process thoughts quickly in Russian, get comfortable with pronunciation, and apply what you've already learned in real conversation. Some people think that while they're still the very beginner, they cannot practice speaking because they don't know enough. But this is a false thought. Even if you know only 15 words in Russian, believe me, you are able to build a simple conversation. And if you have the right place, time, tutor who helps you to create this environment, you'll be able to start practicing speaking from the very first steps. Otherwise, I meet students who have imbalanced knowledge. Their grammar might be at the level B1, but their speaking is at the level A1 because they never really practiced it. They can read, they can even watch films and understand something, but they are not able to hold the conversation. They get lost, they get frustrated because they've never had enough experience of that speaking practice. I really like the association with Lego details. Imagine that every little Lego detail is a little piece of language that you learn. Some people have very small set of Lego and other people have a big set of Lego. But speaking is about how you use what you already know. You can have just few little pieces and you can already build a little house out of those pieces. And on the other hand, you can have a mountain of pieces, but you're not able to build a big castle with it. You keep watching videos, you keep doing exercises, you keep getting new and new Lego pieces, but you are not able to do anything with them. And that's the problem when you neglect speaking practice. Consistent speaking practice is essential. It transforms passive knowledge into active skill, making the language truly yours, giving you the connection between a particular emotion and Russian language. Are you diving into Russian, into really complex grammar straight away? Hold up. Starting with advanced cases and verbs of the movement can make your head spin faster than the Matryoshka doll. Actually, we have another type of doll. It's called Nevalyashka, and that's what's actually happening to you when you try to grasp all the advanced grammar that you can find in Russian. Slow down. Instead of overwhelming yourself, stick to the basics first, like greetings, simple phrases. If you started studying cases, make sure you polished yourself in prepositional and accusative case, and only after move on to the other ones. Imagine learning to run before you can walk. It's just not fun and mostly leads to, well, crash. Focus on building a foundation. When I just started doing this YouTube channel, I had lots of crazy ideas, but I understood that people need some really basic information. They need some real basic explanations. And the same I do in my lessons. I understand that without the base, it just doesn't make sense to throw in some complex grammar topics. And trust me, you'll be using those tricky cases and movement verbs in no time once you get comfortable with essentials. I'll just share with you some real examples from my lessons when it was a slight confusion in pronunciation. It's obviously very funny, but it's funny because it's lessons environment and because we can practice and polish these little mistakes and have fun together. But if you make such mistake in real life, it would be really awkward, especially if you try to chat the girl up or something like this, you know? So just try to hear the difference. Племянник, пельмени. And some students, they just can say instead of племянник, пельмянник, something like this, which is really funny. Another one is сад и зад. Сад, зад. So if you used to pronounce S like Z, instead of saying the garden, you might say the as, basically, that. Another one is была and just бля, which is a bad word in Russian. Билет и блять. If you don't get this pronunciation, the difference in pronunciation correctly, you may say something you don't want to say. And when you just start in studying the language, nobody can really correct you. So that's why I believe that while you're learning the basics, it's important that you have somebody who can listen to you and who can correct you. Later on, you'll be just fine. But when you polish in the basics, make sure you don't memorize wrong pronunciation that sticks with you for months and years, and then later on nobody ever corrects you. It's important to make sure that you know how to pronounce every letter, every sound, every word, and that somebody from outside can correct you. It's time for me to tell you about another common mistake that I see in all my students, and I understand why people make such mistake, because nobody ever tell them about this little nuance, and it connects with writing. Oops. So in Russian we have two types of writing. Actually, I would say three. So the first type, it's regular letters, writing regular letters. When every child comes to the age of 5 or 6, we learn first how to write simple letters. The second type is cursive. You've probably seen some of the examples. And the third type is how they put letters in the books. And it's a little bit different. For example, maybe in the book you've seen a letter A like this. In the simple way, we do it not like this, because this is how they print it in the books. In the books, in student books, but when they actually write letter A in a simple way, like my name is Anna, I write it like this. A. Or a little one, A, like this. And if you want to do something similar to this, it would be a cursive. And yes, you can write A like this too. It goes like this, like the letter O, with a little movement up and a little movement down. When you start writing letter A with this, trying to make it to look like in a book, first of all, it probably doesn't look like in a book. And secondly, it's not even correct. So stick to one of these. The first version, that's how little kids, when they learn how to write in Russian, they practice these symbols. Or you can try cursive version of A, and it goes like this, like O, up, down. The second pair of letters that people get confused how to write, it's P and L. So what's the difference? Because when you see them in the book, they might look kind of the same. So it's very simple. When you write P, it should look like a doorway, exactly like this. But when you write L, it looks like this. It looks like the roof of the house. So that's the difference. Let me write it in a big way. So this is P, and this is L. these are two different geometrical figures. So make sure your P and L looks like this when you write them. And the last letter that I see lots of mistakes in my students' writing at the point that I don't even understand what letter is it, and it's a letter D. There, letter there. And let me just write it for you so you can copy and use it like this. Remember our letter L. We have to start like this. So we draw the roof of the house. Then we draw the base of the house, and then we draw two little legs. This is there for you. That's how you're supposed to write the, and if it's a little one, the same, and like this. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and give me a like if this video is useful too. Guys, it really helps me to develop my channel and grow my community, so this little gesture of you is really appreciated. Learning Russian without friends, lessons, or any real-life practice. That's like trying to learn how to swim by watching the videos. There is no splash, no fun, no connection. When I teach English to Russian people, I know that most likely their motivation will last for years because English is such an important language worldwide. But with Russian, because lots of people learn Russian as a hobby, they tend to lose motivation after 6-7 months. And then they either never come back to Russian, or they come back with some level of frustration that they couldn't keep it up in the first place. To not get into the same trap, I would suggest to you to create an experience that connects with Russian language or with Russian people. Nowadays, there are so many Russian people everywhere in the world, and I'm sure you can find some Russian community in your own city. And it doesn't matter what continent, what country, and what city you live. Especially if you're a native English speaker, you can just find a chat of Russians. And by the way, lots of Russians use Telegram. So if you download Telegram and if you type in Russian in search engine, something like Russians in New York, Russians in Texas, Russians in Germany, you will most likely find those chats. And then you can just leave a message saying something like, hello, I'm local, or hello, I'm an Englishman, or just hello guys, I'm a friendly person who just loves learning Russian. Why don't we do a language exchange? Let's meet up for coffee. Who wants to meet up? We can speak a bit of Russian and I can help you with a bit of English. Or I can tell you more about this city, I can tell you more about the culture. I'm sure somebody will definitely text you back, and this way you'll have a real person in your life, a real connection to Russian language. And it's just one of the examples how you can create an experience. I had a student who loved singing so much, and the only homework she always had was to sing a Russian song and make a recording for me. This way I knew that she creates very valuable experience to her soul. And this way her Russian is growing and developing much faster than if we did some exercises or something else. So try to find the passion inside you and connect it with Russian language. And this way you'll not lose the motivation and your language will develop quicker. Another way to create a real experience in Russian, to sign up to the lessons with me. Every lesson is very deep diving into a particular topic. Each lesson is the experience that you relive with the help of me creating a specific environment for you. With the teacher's support, you'll see your progress faster and clearer, which boosts confidence and make the learning process more enjoyable. To sign up for a free trial lesson, you can fill up the Google form down below, and we could meet in person, get to know each other, and you'll see if this format suits for you or not. In the end, learning Russian or any other language is a mix of consistency, connection, and real practice. Avoid the pitfalls of skipping pronunciation and speaking practice. And don't underestimate the value of a good teacher or the real life practice. With the right balance, you will not only make steady progress, but also enjoy the journey much more. So, keep going, stay curious, and remember, every small step brings you closer to fluency. And when you speak a new language, it's like you developing a super ability. So you become a Superman. And it's amazing. It's truly amazing when you see how some people switch between one language and another, how they're able to say спасибо, здравствуйте, привет, even when they able to say only these little things. Me as Russian, I feel so connected to that person straight away, and that's the power of language. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next videos of our Blin School channel. Пока!